You get orders to Vietnam. How many hours did you have in the F-4B before you got your orders to Vietnam?
Well, it was tough times getting up airplanes. Oftentimes, if we had them up for 2-3 hops in a row, they went to the Kosa Pool and they went back to Vietnam. But I ended up with 85 hours in the airplane before I checked into Chu Lai, and I had never seen raw gear. I didn't even know how to turn it on, and so my whole first day was spent there learning how to check out all the electronic warfare equipment, ALR-50, ALE-29, all these things. I'm going, really?
Raw gear for our audience is radar homing and warning device, if I remember right.
Yeah,
and that was completely new to us. They didn't have those in the
Brand
States.
new.
Yeah. You were really among the last Marine aviators to get a combat tour in Vietnam during that second phase of the war between the October '68 bombing halt and the pullout of Marine aviation. In fact, you were involved in the pullout of Marine aviation, so you almost didn't make the experience, but I'm sure you're glad, all things considered, that you did have a chance.
Absolutely. I mean, one, it was a privilege to be there, in service for national goals, but I think it would have been almost incomplete for me not to have been able to participate.
Yeah.
Of course, I was a young lieutenant. I was bulletproof, extra handsome, all those things.
Yeah, right.
And but it was an incredible learning experience, and I mean, I really do feel like it helped me grow.
Yeah.
It certainly helped me learn a lot more about the airplane and about tactics and what the future might look like. And so when we first turned Chu Lai over to the Americal Division, I was with 314 and I transpack a jet to Hawaii, and then I come back in the country and I joined 115 in Da Nang. And when we wound down the war in March of 71, I transpacked again, and this time all the way to Miramar, and then on to Yuma to be a flight instructor.
So you really helped take the Marine Corps aviation assets out of Vietnam. They came back in '72 for linebacker.
Right. Yep.
Did the combat experience, was it what you expected? Was it, or were there big surprises? Anything?
I think it was pretty much what I expected, but then you have a couple of hops that always stick in your mind and you go, that's a learning point.
Yeah.
Like trying to drop slicks under an overcast and coming out, and when you finally break out, you see nothing but karst on both sides of the jet. You just start screaming, burn her, pull it up, or when the SAM came up, and goes off between you and your wingman. But I mean, I think for the most part, it's kind of what I expected, but like in Technicolor, right? I mean, so now it was loud, it was vibrant, it was, no kidding, it's happening to you. You're here, you're part of it.
And you flew missions, both close air support for Marines and Army and I Corps. You also flew interdiction missions in Laos. Those were really different missions, weren't they?
Very much so. Working in both had great, forward air controllers. I mean, we just had wonderful people down there in small airplanes, bringing us in to take care of the Marines and soldiers on the ground. But close air support, when you're down there running around doing about 10-degree dives, 20-degree dives, napalm and snake eye bombs, with fins, is very different from going across the fence and dropping 500-pounders and Zunis all in one run at 45 degrees and 500 knots. And so, there's also always a difference of what's the threat.
Right.
I mean, so you don't really see small arms unless you get a hole in your wing or something. But I'm going to tell you what, when the 37s and the 57s and the 100s would open up, it was like the 4th of July.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, and if you want to hop at night, it really lit up your basket.
Yeah, that was an experience that I think woke all of us up. That was very different from day close air support.
For sure. Yeah.
Before we get to your lengthy career in the Marine Corps, how and when did you decide to make it a career?
Well, when I came back, I went to Yuma. That's where you and I first hooked up, and was a flight instructor in the F-4 there. And I kind of was thinking, well, maybe I might ought to try something else. And so I called my favorite professor from college, Dr. Coster, and I said, I'm kind of thinking I might just get out because I think, I might either want to go back and study biology under you or go to med school. He talked to me, he said, well, what would drive you to do that, da-da-da-da-da. And he said, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and you go home and think about them, you call me back in a week. And he says, number 1, do you enjoy what you're doing? And number 2, do you enjoy the people that you do it with? So I go home and I think about it. I know immediately the answer is yes to that. And so I get back on the phone with him a week later, and he says, so what are your answers? I said, yes and yes. He says, what I'm hearing from you about why you might want to leave are minor irritants, and they're going to be there if you're in med school, professorship, or anywhere else. My recommendation, stay where you are, never look back.
So that was a career decision fairly early in your career.
Yeah, I was still a first lieutenant.
Yeah.
I went over and came home, I was still a first lieutenant. I think I was the only first lieutenant instructor in the squadron.
Hey, you probably were. All the rest of us were captains.
You guys were all captains? I'm just... So talking to him helped me put it in perspective. And this was a guy I respected, because I had been pre-med, and I had him for all my anatomy classes, embryology, all that stuff. And, but yeah, it was a life decision.
So let's turn to the rest of your career and kind of take us through the major commands you had and kind of the important career steps that ended up with your being a 4-star general and deputy commandant of the Marine Corps, assistant commandant of the Marine Corps.
I was incredibly blessed and fortunate. The assignments that I had, that the Marines that I served with, the things that I learned. I guess the first time I had any kind of command was I was in 212, and I took 3 jets from Hawaii to Miramar with a det to go through Top Gun. And so that was sort of the first time, well, now what does Nyland say?
Yeah, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Whoa, yeah, really?
Yeah.
And so, I went through Top Gun, which was an incredibly wonderful experience.
How many Marines were in your Top Gun class?
Top Gun 1 and 2 were from VF1 and VF2. We were 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, that was Marines. And then we had another group of F4s, but they were Navy F4s that were 5 and 6. So in my class, just the 4 of us, we had the spare airplane, and they were fortunate to fly a lot of sideshows, if you will, when the bogies could stay out there, and they got a lot of great training at that. But our crew, we had 4 Marines and 2 jets.
And you did it at old school Top Gun Maverick Miramar.
Yeah. Miramar.
Was it as cool as the movie?
Absolutely.
That's great. That's great.